There we are. Welcome everyone. We are live, and we've. This is a little bit different from what we normally do, but we've got Georgie, we got Coop, and we got Brett from Madam Mayor's Adventures joining us. And this is going to be a business stream. Welcome.
All right. Thank you.
I think we all have some type of business, one way or another.
Yep.
Georgie?
Does YouTube count?
I think so.
Yeah. It's work that counts.
So yeah.
Coop's
So all of us
muted.
have some type of business mind.
Oh shit! I didn't know I was muted. Yeah. Yeah. I pulled a Georgie. There we go. Yeah. And yeah, you're gonna pay taxes on that YouTube, so it's a business.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got people slowly making in here. We're out on everybody's channels right now. So wherever you're watching, everyone here we have at least everyone here has at least one channel that we're broadcasting on. So this is going to be pretty good potential for a lot of people to see this.
Yep, I'm going on 3 platforms. 4, not live on Twitter, but I am on Twitter, and 3 others. So there's 4.
Yeah, you got to pay to go live on Twitter. I pay.
Yeah, I know it sucks, and I'm not willing to pay any more money for these things. I mean, Restream is enough. I'm a tight butt.
Oh, TC's whining.
We're going to squeeze in another one here.
Yay! I'm not outnumbered anymore.
There she
Come
is.
on in, Madam Mayor.
There she is. But yeah, I shared everywhere I usually share, hoping to shake some trees and get some people out here. But you know, they're used to me and Georgie being on in the morning time, so I don't know how many. Plus, you got Tug going, so that's going to be a big hitter right there.
Yeah.
That, and it's late for you guys. It's 8:00 for me. It's 5.
Right. That's what sucks with you being in California. I mean, come on, man. 3-hour difference sucks.
I don't know how people can live there. Everything is just so ridiculous.
Oh, every day. It's you just look at the insanity and you're like, huh. But a couple years, I'll be out of here.
Now, Britt, he literally lives in the desert, okay? Out there where the scorpions and snakes and shit is. I mean, he lives in the desert.
I've had friends that were that lived in 29 Palms, so I've heard a lot. I've never been there, but yeah, NTC, National Training Center, we called it. But I was able to do 23 years and never see NTC. I don't know how that happened. I don't, because everybody around us went, but I always never went.
I got some friends who work on the base up there. I'll tell you one thing I just found out about that. I got to wait for my son. He's at Boy Scout camp right now. But when he comes out, we're going to go check out up at Edwards Air Force Base. They have the National Test Flight Museum for all the pilots who were doing all the test flights. So we want to go check that out.
Hey, that sounds awesome.
That'd be neat. Yeah.
Sun and Fun has already come and gone down here. Brett, Therese, you probably know what Sun and Fun is.
The Jeep thing?
The air thing in Lakeland. The big giant air show every year. It's huge. Huge.
Yeah, I never went.
Yeah.
We went once. Too hot.
The way I learned about Florida was really towing trailers and boats around Florida when I had the Campground.
There you go.
That was a side hustle.
There you go.
So we towed RVs around. And so we learned, we've probably been all over Florida. We've been to the Keys a few times with boats and picking up boats or what have you. But she lived in Florida.
Well, I was born there.
She was born and raised in South Florida. Real South Florida.
Hollywood.
That's down there in Crazy Land.
The real Hollywood, not that California crap.
Right. I was transplanted. I came here when I was 2. So I was raised here since I was 2 and then left. Came back about 20 years later. But I love Florida. 2 seasons here, hot and hotter, just like I told Georgie earlier.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like Florida during the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah. For 2 months, we like it. December, January.
Yep, that's the best time.
February.
Go ahead, Skipper.
Oh, people ask me how I can live here. I'm like, 4 months out of the year, it sucks, but the rest of the time, it's really nice.
It just sucks here all year.
Yeah.
Last year, I don't even think we had a winter last year. And then we get hit with 2 hurricanes back to back a week apart. Now, that was a first for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I can deal with 1 a year, but 2 back to back, that was crazy.
That's a lot of parties.
Oh, the rednecks were out in full force, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring in the
Uh-huh.
keg. A hurricane's coming.
You'll see blow up rafts floating down the street, people on them drinking beer. It's crazy.
With the hurricanes, they travel really slow, and you have this cone of probability, and you have, the idea of, well, it's going to curve in or it's going to curve wide. You can kind of play with that and assess your own risk, whether you want to stay or leave. But you kind of got to make that. You got to make that decision about 3 to 4 days out.
Well, we're far enough.
If you wait too long,
We're far enough inland that we get a lot of wind and rain, but nothing really bad because we're almost right smack in the middle. Of Florida. We're just right down below Orlando. So by the time all that gets to us, it's slowed down tremendously. We still get a lot of nasty wind, but not nearly what you guys would have got in Otter Creek or along the coastline.
Yeah, and even from Otter Creek being 20 miles inland, it would go from a Cat 5 to a Cat 2.
Right.
Like, it's really amazing how much it knocks it down once it hits the end. We really didn't sustain any big damage in Otter Creek, and surprisingly, the trees being unmaintained was your biggest threat.
I was used to a lot worse in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So they'd come around and tell you, "Are you evacuating?" Nope. Okay, what's your name for the list? The death list.
Yeah.
Good times.
We've been lucky. Irma, when she came through, she didn't really damage anything, but it was a lot of trees and a lot of limbs. And in every one we've had since then, it's just been a little milder and milder. It's just been some rain and some wind, few shingles off the roof. Nothing major for us anyway, in the middle of Florida. But anywho,
Yeah. Now we've traveled through there. What town is we watched the online church of Meadowbrook out of Ocala, where he's from. Leesburg. That's close to you.
no,
isn't
it's
it?
up a little. It's probably about 50 miles away. It's not too bad.
That's
Yeah, it's close.
Close.
It's a little farther than Disney is from us. I think it's up 33 or off 33. What road was that? Leesburg is where I go to my motorcycle swap meets once a year. At the big farmers market there, they have a big giant swap meet for, if you can think about it, for motorcycle parts, you can get it there. Yeah, that's Leesburg or Warrensburg.
Nice.
They're right there close to each other. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Now, do you all know what state is actually the flattest state?
No. It ain't Florida.
It should be Florida.
It's Florida.
They have signs in
It's Florida.
Florida
Is it
that
Florida?
say
Is it Florida?
"Hill blocks view," like you wouldn't know that. There's such a sign going to Cedar Key from Otter Creek that says "Hill blocks view." No kidding.
I figure when you got up
It's a little,
north a little ways, you get a little more hilly. But no,
Well,
I know there's no mountains.
That's why you can see that flashing yellow light in Otter Creek from Gulf Hammock because
Yeah.
it's so flat and straight.
that's 5 miles and you can see it.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Well, I got 8 roaming. Yeah.
Now, we're here because we want to talk about different business things. So we all have various business. I've got several, but YouTube itself is a business. Obviously, doing your shows, most of us, maybe even all of us, sell merchandise. Do you find, any of you, that that's a major income producer.
It was for me.
Yeah.
No.
It was for me at one time.
Mhm.
Brett, Therese,
No.
Not really. No.
that's where I made the bulk of my inventory or my money during 2014 all the way up until COVID hit. When COVID hit, my business died because of other things dealing with other platforms. But anyway, I could have kept it going. But yeah, everything that I made by myself in my shop, when I put it on my Facebook page, it sold immediately. I couldn't keep nothing in stock.
Good.
But yeah, I made all my money through YouTube mainly. I would show videos me making stuff, and the minute it hit, like I said, hit my Facebook page, it was sold. It was gone. It didn't matter if it was a pin, an urn. Well, I didn't make any urns, but a bowl, whatever it was, they sold.
Yeah, I find the merchandise is slow. Like some people will buy it here and there, but if you're not constantly making new merch, like and having new stuff out there, most of it, like. But I'm fortunate I go through a place that they make it as it sells, so I
Right.
don't have any overhead.
Oh, we were talking about merch, like as in channel merch, right?
Anything, any way to sell stuff through your channel.
Oh yeah, I didn't sell hardly any channel merch like that was Coop related, but stuff I made in my shop, which the big bulk of things I made in my shop that sold were ink pens. I did a lot of the ink pen stuff.
Okay. Georgie,
And then,
any of
yeah.
yours?
No. I think
You care to elaborate?
maybe 3 mugs.
See, I highlight that because one of the comments I get all the time from people, mainly on Twitter, is people like, "Well, you're making money off that." It's like, really? You think I'm making like hand over fist cash?
Now, I was looking up YouTube, and our stats don't reflect what the norm is. But it said it took 15 and a half months to get monetized. Now, I don't think it took y'all 15 and a half months to get monetized,
No.
did it?
No.
But see, when I became a partner, which was many, many moons ago, you didn't have watch hours you had to worry about. You just had to have 1,000 subscribers and at least 3 videos on your channel. Okay. I think it was 500 views. It was back in 2013 I became a partner. But when COVID hit and things happened with my Facebook that hurt my channel, I just shut my channel down for 4 years. So when I came back, Georgie and Mike, and I started live streaming, it took me from, when did we start, Georgie? About the end of November, didn't we?
The week of my birthday is when you and I paired up.
I had, I think, 2,500 watch hours, and I needed at least that 3,000 for memberships and super chats. And I needed that 4,000 for, I had the subscribers, but I didn't have the watch hours because it was a new thing that I wasn't used to. So I had to remonetize. And it took me about, I think it was December 10th when I was finally able to fully monetize again. It took me about a month. But I was,
Yeah, that's actually
Georgie and I were live streaming every day, 2 hours a day.
Yeah, when we first started, we were going 7 days a week.
Yeah, we were going. And when new documents would drop during this whole thing with Jeremy, we would come back on, during the afternoon if a new document dropped, and we would do another stream, and eventually I got monetized, and shortly after I did, Georgie got monetized, and it's just been going on from there.
Yeah. For us, a little different. We pretty much had, what was it, maybe 6 weeks, and we had 30,000 right out the gate. But we were really close with Jeremy. We were in the thick of all the garbage that was going on in Otter Creek. and he had been honest about doing it sooner, like a year earlier, maybe even 2 years earlier.
Like right after we met him.
Yeah, like
that's what he tells everybody.
He was like, he goes, "You got enough going on here. You could do a channel right out of the campground," and he's right. He's right.
That would have been crazy if we showed all that went on in the campground.
We would probably be in celebrity status with 100,000 followers.
Now you guys hit your subscribers, and then you had to work on your watch hours, right? To get your watch hours up there.
They came quickly,
Did they?
though. They did. Within 2 months, we were monetized. But it wasn't us doing anything. It was our affiliation with What the Hales.
Do you guys
and we realized
miss owning the campground?
And so when we decided,
do you miss owning the campground?
I do. It's becoming less of a miss over time because I was busy. I enjoyed it. I liked being outside, even though it was miserably hot most of the time. We get out there early. I enjoyed it.
It was fun, but being in the area it was in, the group of people that you would get weren't the most desired. Now, there was a lot of cool people too, but there was also a decent sized group of not fun people to deal with.
Yeah, and it was
had
hard.
To go a little Broward County at times, and that's not fun.
And many times we called the cops over there to get them out.
That was a waste.
That's a waste of time. They didn't do anything. But as soon as they left, I would do something. So normally that would take care of it. The cops don't know the rules.
Now, you guys, it was a campground, right? But they had the option to be full-time residents on top of that, or
6 months and 1 day you become a tenured resident.
But you guys allowed them to stay as regular residents. That's what I'm trying to get at. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But they wouldn't make it that far if there was any red flags or yellow flags. And she was stricter about it than I was. At first,
because you can't read people.
Yeah.
Like,
at first, I was almost letting anybody in there because I had already put all my money into building the extra road and the trees, and I had done a lot right off the rip. And a lot of my money needed to be current cash flow.
Gotcha.
And so there was a mistake in doing that, though. You might get money, but you're going to spend money, and you're going to be irritated, and you're going to,
then the boss got to come in and clear them out. So.
And sometimes it had to be a woman because there are confrontations with women.
So
not desirable women, dirty foot women that would
dirty foot.
You couldn't kick them out because then it became you touched me. It became this freaking assault. Yeah.
That's why I always would tell them, just go over there.
She would tell me, I'll deal with this. I was like, yeah, you better, because it's going to be.
So how is it considered a campground if they can stay full time? I thought campgrounds, you were only allowed to stay so many days, and then you had to move on for so many days, but you could come back. So is there some kind of?
That's what the
state parks,
state and county does that.
I got you.
It's a privately owned property, but it's open to the public. So you can drive through it, but if we don't want you there, we can.
Got it.
We can.
And if they're there for over 6 months, then they don't have to pay the hotel taxes anymore that the state charges.
Yeah. Some campgrounds continue to charge the tax.
And pocket it.
And that's exactly what they're doing. I didn't do that. So they would pay a tax on the rent. So it was $450 or $475, whether it was 30 amp or 50 amp service. But we really just built in $125 for electric, and we only taxed them on the $350.
Gotcha.
Because you can't tax electric.
Because you can't.
That would be illegal, and some places do that also.
Some places mark up electric, and you can't do that.
There is a lot of campground owners that don't want full time because they don't like people that drop roots and spread out and get all cluttered up.
Right.
So there are some owners that don't like that. And I get that. But then there's good people. So, but you got to keep a close eye on them because they do like to start hoarding.
Now, I know you guys like to travel. Have you been down here to Margaritaville?
Not yet.
But you've heard of it. That place is flipping expensive. That's just right down the street from my house. Okay, I've got a really good friend of mine. His wife works there as a bartender, and that place is nice, but it is expensive. Oh my goodness!
I think I've seen that on a TV show.
Yeah, they're on YouTube. There's several YouTubers that do what you guys do that have been down here. Mm-hmm. There's a little gal I watched that's up in, I think, Minnesota, and she came down here. She doesn't have an RV. She has her truck, and it has a truck camper in it. And they almost didn't let her stay because they are that strict. You have to have a certain style of RV to be able to park in there. But that place is just unreal.
Yeah, some of them are big. I mean, they're big. RVs in Florida are cash cows if they're ran properly. They absolutely are.
Look.
There's no reason you can't fill a campground, even in Otter
Creek. Look at I-4.
Because it's not a desire. I had this conversation with Zim, and Zim doesn't watch all this stuff, but somebody will tell him that I don't care. But I was like, Zim, you got too much money in this campground. And then he'd get mad and he'd get offended and he'd walk away. And
not everybody has the same business plan or ideas.
Well, just my little area. You head down I-4 and you got two huge RV where they sell RVs. One on one side, one on the other side, and then right down from one of them on going towards Tampa, you've got the Airstream lot selling Airstreams. I mean, it's a big business down here. There are RV sales places everywhere.
RVs are.
Yeah, I know Callaway's got one of the largest RV stores in the world. Really, it's what's it called?
Optimum
RV.
RVs are one of the fastest growing outdoor activities now.
Oh,
especially during COVID. It boomed.
And the van life stuff. We were going to Bradenton Beach last weekend, and we passed by the one. I don't know the name of it. It's the one that's on the left-hand side as you're going towards Tampa. They literally had a whole line of vans, the taller vans, not the regular cargo vans, but the taller vans, fully decked out for van life. Those things, $150,000, $200,000. Those things are expensive.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, they're Mercedes. I
mean. Some of those Class B vans can cost more than your Class C's.
Right on.
Class A's.
Well, it's like when we have brand new, what they charge for them is insane.
The cat stole her tongue.
Thank you, Suzanne, for the $10.
Thank you, Susie. As Brett would say, I'm chasing squirrels. Squirrel.
It's funny that he says that because he's a squirrel chaser himself.
Oh, I've noticed in the videos.
You know who chases the most squirrels I've ever met?
I know who you're going to say.
Deanna will chase squirrels forever.
Oh, Deanna?
I love her. I miss her.
Yeah.
I miss her so much.
She's smart, though. She's a smart cookie. She can find information on anything.
I don't think I've ever seen her in a bad mood. Every time, the few videos I've seen her on with Jeremy or by herself or whatever, she's always been in a good mood, chipper, happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, she's a very positive person. I don't think I've seen her upset either. Mm-mm.
Well, I have, but I've seen almost everyone upset before. I mean, we're all human, but she is more positive than
working
most.
at a post office. I would imagine you see a lot of upset people.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah. Everybody's going postal.
TC ain't in here, is he?
Somewhere.
Is he here?
He was in here crying earlier because Mike didn't invite him.
I'd be worried about him coming to the post office.
He normally does.
Yeah, he did come to the post office when I
Not that TC.
No, not that TC.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
our TC.
But she has a good story.
Don't make me relive it.
A little off topic.
We're talking about Minnesota Black Robe Regiment. He's
look, you did it right that time.
What?
You said it right that time.
Hey, you watch out. Hush. He was in the chat earlier, but TC's pretty cool. He has his own channel, and he's got his
Airborne
chicken.
vet.
He's got his what is his freedom flock, where he films his chickens live throughout the day.
And now we're doing cooking streams with Georgie and him.
Well, him doing the cooking, he makes me write about it until I furl.
So in getting back to our channel a little bit, and this is channels in general, what happened with us? We had a whole bunch of subscribers at first, but what do they like to
Exactly.
watch? They like to watch storage unit resales, right? So we kind of got off of that. Now Jeremy has a brilliant business model, if you haven't realized it already. He goes to storage units, resells it. In the meantime, he's streaming his purchase, whether it's back at the schoolhouse and going through the stuff. So he's making it on that. Then it's going to hit Whatnot, which is what? Streamed. So there's two incomes coming at the same time. So one's just stacking on the other one. So yeah, he's built, that's a brilliant model to do that.
That's one thing when I talk about my business partner. He's like, whenever we talk about some new venture, he's always like, can we make it scalable to where we can increase it, or if we need to decrease it? And that's a very scalable business model, which is very smart to do. Because
so if you can find a niche where you're selling something on your channel like that, you're bringing income in two ways at the same time on the same platform. It's pretty it's done very well for him.
Jeremy's classic YouTube success. Okay. I'm not talking about the walnut or the reseller stuff, just the model that he followed to get his channel going. That every day at the same time, every single day, and that once a week live. That's where you get your following. When your people know, and if you have something that they want to watch, and you release a video every single day at the same time, and then you do your one live stream a week, your people, you will grow. But you got to find that niche.
Yeah. Us and Travis and a couple of people from, I think it was Mark Feather's office. Anyway, he gave us a little class, and he talked about all this, how the analytics work and how you want to be regimented and have a day of release. Now, he does every day. We weren't willing to work that much, but every day. And then the live stream on Sunday is community building. That's what builds community.
Now,
that's how he pitched it.
You guys with the RV stuff, you have your niche. Have you guys ever heard? I was talking to George about this the other night. Have you ever heard of a YouTuber? He's got over millions and millions of subscribers. Okay, he doesn't do auctions and stuff. He's a vlogger. He vlogs his life like you guys do. Okay, but that's his key, uploading, and he's never done a live stream. His is all uploads, and he uploads every single day between 30 and 45 minutes. His name is Casey Neist. He's got a huge, and all he does is he shows himself getting up in the morning, getting ready, traveling to work, and when he gets to work, he's filming himself. Anyway, you guys got it. You got your audience. You know what to do.
Well, most of our current audience of 32,000 roughly is still what the hell is wanting to see resale stuff. So those people like our estate sales. They seem to like those. They do pretty well. They don't do great, but they do okay. But we enjoy them. So you've
come around.
I've come around. I like them a little more. But and we were doing some of the yard sales, but you get a fairly large number of people that don't want to be like, what are you doing? Why are you recording? This is my property. So we kind of stopped doing that because a couple of times I was like, really? Now, once you explain it to them.
Well, that one lady came after you pretty hard and you weren't very nice to her either.
No, it was hot too. It was in the afternoon, and it was like the third yard
PMS.
Sale.
That's what it sounds like.
He wasn't having it, and I wasn't having it. So we left.
I called
But-
you a jerk at that place, and the lady thought
Yeah.
I was talking to her. I said, I'm
Yeah.
talking to my husband. It's like, oh, then by all means.
Now, have you guys ever used any of the programs out there for veterans for your business?
No.
Mm-mm. In fact, I've never been to the VA. When I retired, I felt like I was healthy and I just left.
He's delusional, like most men.
But
Nothing wrong with me.
Right.
I should go and get hearing checked. I should go and all these things.
Don't worry,
right?
I have a list.
She has a list. But to me, I would never take the time to fit it in. Like when I retired from Fort Wainwright up in Alaska, I was already working while I was still on active duty. I was on terminal leave and I was working full time. I just never would take the
Mhm.
time. And then when I got to Florida, I didn't have time to do nothing. I didn't have time to do anything. Using the bathroom was like, hurry up behind the tree so I can get over here and fix this. So it was just huge, hectic, busy. But I never worked as hard in the military as I did in that campground. Like when you're working for yourself, there is so much to do.
And that's
When you're working for Uncle Sam, yeah, you're working.
the
But-
military doesn't teach you
Work
business. It teaches you how to work, but it doesn't teach you business.
Yeah. I have a business major, a bachelor's in business, with emphasis on technical management, I believe it actually reads. But that was while I was on active duty. I went to school at night. I think it took me about 10 years to get my degree, but I went at night, I never went full time. I take 1 or 2 classes per semester, and you just keep plugging away at it, plugging away. And then when you go on a deployment, you can't go to class. When you're in Korea, there's very few classes, none that you need that you can take. So you stumble a few times where you can't take anything and you waste time. But I finished it all on active duty.
Hard to do.
Yeah.
I was fortunate where they actually sent me to school, and I was given 4 semesters, and I finished my degree because I came in
Nice.
enlisted where I already had several years of college, and
Oh,
yeah, I went to the University of Toledo for several years. Then I enlisted, and then they put me in an officer's program, and I had 4 semesters at Eastern Michigan that I had to finish in those 4 semesters, and I did it in 3.
I did most of mine with Central Texas College, different sites, and I finished up with Wayland Baptist University in
I took
Texas.
classes
all of
at
it was-
CTC.
Yeah.
Very military friendly.
Yep. And they're inexpensive, and you can find the books usually. So
But yeah, go ahead, Skipper.
I was just gonna say because there's not a lot of veterans ask me about VA business. Like they always ask me about VA business loans, and I'm like, there really isn't any. You're gonna get a small business loan before you'll get anything through the VA. But there are a couple programs out there, and the one that I like to talk to people about the most is called the Federal Surplus Property Program, where veterans that own a business, they can register it through the Small Business Administration, and then
so
your state manages the program, and you can actually buy equipment from the government for 1/10 of its original cost. Now, it is a pain. I've been working for the last year and a half, 2 years to get my business in the program because there's just so many rules. But I'm actually starting to see some way forward. And for me, for Veteran Nation, I would love to get a van or a box truck or something so that I can actually take the show on the road. And I'm looking at that program as a way to do it because if it was a $50,000 van, I only have to pay $5,000 to get it used from the government.
Nice.
There you go. Yeah.
And you can get out of Cali.
I probably won't go too far. Probably either Lake Havasu or into Nevada. I do like the desert. Yeah.
They're having.
I've never seen the desert. It's on my list.
What I saw of the desert, I didn't like, but it wasn't in the United States.
Fall or springtime is the best time to visit the desert, without a doubt.
No thanks.
Don't come.
I've been trying to get him to move here, and he told me the other day if he moves, he's going to Nevada. I'm like, that's still 10 light years away from me. Just come to Tennessee.
I could see myself retiring to like West Virginia or Kentucky. I could see that.
Tennessee, no income tax.
That part.
I do like that. I like the fish.
And we have a lot of corn.
Yeah, I love fishing.
Yeah, Nebraska doesn't have all the corn. I can tell you that.
That's if I go to Havasu, it'll only be to fish.
The people have been really nice here. They're very welcoming. Whether you're at the tax office or getting your license done, they're like, hey, welcome to Tennessee. Everybody has been above and beyond nice. Almost everywhere we go, we get back in the car and go, they were so nice. Like out of the way.
It's a culture
nice.
shock
Like,
for sure.
it is.
I was-
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Florida
use-
ain't like
Florida ain't
Now,
like
look,
that.
if you go down to Fayetteville, they are mean, they're rude, and that's what I was used to because we lived in Fayetteville first. And they're so mean and
Fayetteville,
yes,
Tennessee.
and they were so mean and vile there. We lived there for 4 years.
that's where our new doctor is.
Our new doctor is there.
We'll
so-
find out next week.
Yeah.
And then we moved up here, and everybody's so sweet. And I'm like, this is a culture shock. I don't know how to behave here.
That's been the biggest change for us is the people. Now, that might not be all of Florida, and I kind of bash Florida with that, but that's just my experience with Florida and where I was.
There's good stuff and good parts and good people.
Yeah.
And I can say whatever I want because I was born there. So
Yeah.
I don't care.
But she worked a long time in Ocala with the post office, and so she had always said, "I will never live in Levy County." And
And where did I go?
Levy County's bad, and it's really because of what the law enforcement allows. It's ridiculous. The lack of enforcement empowers all the thugs, is what it does. It empowers all the mischievous and the drugs and all of that.
When I worked at the post office in Otter Creek, I never even drove into the town. I just drove on 19 to the post office and then left on 19 and went home. Like I never went into the town.
Yeah.
Not that there's much town to go into, but
There's
when the
not.
people came to check their mail and buy stuff, I said, these people are whack. Like,
The town is only about 1.2 square miles. It's nothing.
You know, early on, I thought it was just John Lynette when I was following all that, but I shouldn't say very quickly. Over the time, probably about when they started going into court is when I started really noticing that, the people of Levy County are pretty insane.
Now, in Otter Creek, there are some good people there. Don't get me wrong.
yeah, there are.
There
for
are.
Sure.
I can probably name 10. So there's a population of 100, and I can name 10 good people.
But the crazies override
The
the good.
crazies override, and the good don't want to do too much to help.
Yeah, they just want to
So-
stay under the radar.
Yeah. Yeah. And you saw more of the good wanting to do less as time went on.
In one sense, I don't blame them, but in
Yeah.
the other sense, hell no. Mm-mm.
No, if you want to make your place
Mhm.
better, then you all have to rally and come to the table, and they just don't want to leave their house. They don't want to get involved. And
The one thing about Otter Creek I've noticed is everybody's out for themselves. Nobody wants to work together. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah.
I think you're
that
right.
whole town could have better.
If you would get the community
But they
pulled
don't
together
want.
and the community would actually work together, I think it would be a lot better place. But I don't know.
Yep.
But that's why a lot of them, not all of them, that's why a lot of them are where they are, is because throughout their life they didn't want more. for themselves. They're not go-getters. They're not high achievers. They don't want to get up and go do something.
I can understand that because
It's frustrating.
in this town, I tell people who come to this town where I live, the people here don't live, they survive. And once you understand that mentality, they're just going from day to day. So you could have someone who's a good friend and they'll rip you off tomorrow. But that's the mentality I deal with today, and it seems like it's very similar.
That's Florida. It sounds like you're describing that's Florida.
Yeah. I mean, some of the worst people, I mean, for your life, some of the worst people are your family. To some degree, that's been my experience, but to a huge degree, that's been her experience. So we kind of like looked at each other and said, hey, you trust me, I'll trust you, and it's you and me against the world. We can make this happen. And that's what we did. So the whole campground was us, was me, then us. And then, yeah, so she was all in, and she was a huge asset to the campground and beyond. And so we had similar likings. We wanted to get outside. We enjoy travel, but we need to do it on a budget because we retired early. She just turned 50. I'm 58. So
I'm over the hill.
yeah, we feel old because the post office has broken her. But we just, it's with YouTube too. We know what it would take to make a great channel. We're just not willing to do it. We're not willing to sacrifice doing things we want to do or filming things we want to film. And if people want to watch them, great. If they don't want to watch them, well, there's other channels you can go watch. Thank you, but see ya. So we don't do it for the views. We do it because these are things we want, that we enjoy doing, and then it's not work. But if I have to go chase content, now it becomes work because that's not something I want to do. So whatever the channel does is just whatever the channel does. We have not taken $1 from Madam Mayor's Adventures LLC and spent any of it on anything other than travel. Like we don't pull money from it to go buy a car or a motorcycle or whatever. That's not what it's for. It's for our travels. And
But I want to get my hair did. I want to get my nails did.
Our day-to-day bills, we live off of my retirement pension. So it's a small number. I don't mind telling you, it's around $3,000, and we live on that. Now, the campground pays for the house and all the utilities associated with the house, and we're putting extra money towards the principal on the house. So the only thing we owe on is the house, the property, and we're putting an extra $1,000 a month to the principal every month. So we live on a budget. So when we go shopping at these thrift sales, everybody's in the chat going, "Oh, I would have bought this and this and this and this." Look, we don't have room for all that stuff. We're not resellers. We're not buying everything. Jeremy would have bought that. Well, good for Jeremy. Jeremy, I don't have Jeremy's money. I'm not reselling. We have a small place. We don't hoard. We downsized, and we want to be mobile and travel and come back here, reset, and then travel again and reset. That's our pattern. If people want to follow us and watch our adventures, great. We'd love to have them. And we enjoy doing that, but we're going to film what we want to film.
I mean, reselling is fun, and I would do it if we weren't traveling, because I did some of that when we were in Otter Creek too, because we did a bunch of different little side hustles, as I call them.
Yeah.
But we just can't do that traveling, but it's fun. I like buying stuff and reselling it.
Yeah, when we had the campground, we had a couple of side hustles going. I mean, not that we really had to do them, but we had the campground. Then all the money from the campground was going right back into the campground. We weren't living off the campground at all. We only just now, since we sold it, started living off the campground. So, but we both worked on Sunday, Amazon at the post office. So we did Amazon deliveries for the post office. She first was in Ocala and I was in Williston. And then positions opened in Chiefland because they were going to start Amazon. So we were one of the first ones to start Amazon delivery in Chiefland. So we both went to Chiefland. I was like, hey, let's both get to Chiefland. One, it's a smaller, well, it's not smaller than Williston, but it's a smaller than Ocala office. we'll go in together. We'll get off together. There's only like 7 routes there. It won't be hard. We'll get to know the area really well. And it's a great thing to do. We just didn't like that it was on Sunday. We would prefer that Amazon was on Saturday. We have different ideas about how the post office could actually be a profitable business, but it's mismanaged, grossly mismanaged and wasteful.
It's run like the government.
It's run like the government, yeah. So they really should just go to a 5-day mail week with Amazon on Saturday. But Amazon has promised a 7-day-a-week delivery, so that's what they do, and they pay for it. But that stresses out the post office, but they signed up for it. But so we just did Sunday delivery, but it kind of got us out. It was our break from the campground, and Monday was like our down day. It was like our Friday or our Saturday. Monday was our back to routine day. But yeah,
And
I don't know where I was.
you had some ideas on passive income, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Let me give you your
I do have RV parks listed. Now that depends. It wasn't passive for us, but if you have someone managing it that lives on it and can manage it and do the maintenance, that can be 1 people or 2 people, depending on how big it is, then it can be passive. But I think we've talked RV parks enough. I think investing in a money market is a way as passive income. If you have some capital and you're wanting to know where to invest it, you can invest in the money market. It's kind of a safe security kind of thing. A high yield savings account. Now we have some experience with this. She had some money down in Florida in a credit union, and it was sitting there forever, and decided to move it up here. Why have that money sitting there? It's earning very little. And the bank here, Ascend, Federal Credit Union, was offering some high yield short term savings accounts, 4.5%. So we just moved and we're starting to make money with that. It ain't a lot of money. You can't live on it, but $50 here, $50 there, it's a water bill, it's a cable bill, whatever you got.
Yeah, you want to pay your water bill. You don't want to have to do other stuff.
We thought ice machines was an option, but we did look into that, but it takes a long time to get your money back on those things. And we thought about putting one on the corner of the campground, but we didn't have a good pull-off area. And that place where Travis is, that little corner, we're thinking about that too. But these machines can be $40,000.
Right.
And then if they break down, you have to pay to get them fixed. And then there's going to be a water bill. And now you're using Otter Creek water. Is that a good idea? You'll also be competing with Herschel's. Is that a good idea? And I know Zim plans on, I know at one point he had future plans on selling. I would expect that to be probably food and maybe even beer and wine and ice and that kind of stuff. I don't know. We'll see what he does.
Is his campground up and running?
So you'd be competing with that.
Is his campground up and running? Okay.
Yeah.
part of
Yes.
it. Yeah. You talking about Zim? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, he got half of it
When we
going?
saw it last, he had half of it going. He may have the rest of it. No.
Probably not. I mean, there was so much stuff and it was so
The
expensive.
good thing for him is he had all the equipment. So
Yeah.
he could do it all himself, and he's a contractor, and he basically self-permitted. Got him a guy and paid him, but he paid a lot. I asked him, I said, why didn't you just buy my campground? Because you can't expand it. You're at max capacity. Okay, I got 24 spots, and it didn't cost $1 million. He's $1 million in it, and he ain't done.
Wow.
I just don't think he'll ever get that back. I don't. Now, that's me. He won't see it back. His kids might. But in 20 years, I don't think he can make all that back. Not with the expenses on, the overhead.
Now, Brett was talking about the ice machines.
Water bill and the electric. And so, I don't know. I mean, he's got different ideas. Zim will, he'll throw money at stuff to solve a problem. I'm not that person. If I can fix it myself, I will. But yeah,
I think the ice machines you were talking about is a good idea if you put them in the right place.
Yeah.
We've got one of our main lakes right up the street. It's just, I mean, you can see it from my driveway. And they had one, okay, right across the street from it. And that lake had a big park. You had people down there fishing, people down there swimming, you know, during the summer, especially. For some reason, they took it out. I don't know why, but that was a moneymaker right by that park. And you've got hundreds of people throughout the weekend at that park. And water, if you can set one up that actually people can take their like jugs, the big 5-gallon jugs, and fill them up with water. That is another huge moneymaker, especially in your farming communities like Dover and Plant City area, where they have a lot of migrant workers that come in for the seasons. They don't drink regular water. All they will drink is the water in Walmart that you fill up the jugs. So if you got one of those on the side of the road, man, you can make some money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, ice machines. I was thinking something else too.
A parking lot in Gatlinburg.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I want.
A parking lot in Gatlinburg, $20 for a day. And if you leave, you can't come back. You pay another $20.
They're making a ton of money.
Ridiculous. They got us on that the first day, but after that, it was like, we ain't doing
Speaking of Gatlinburg, are you guys watching A1 Auto up there? Jeff? He's a tow truck guy.
No.
And that's where he specializes, is right there in Gatlinburg. He tows the illegal parks.
I think I just read.
He probably stays
He
pretty
does.
busy.
I just read something about that recently, but
It's crazy there.
I didn't know.
Is A1 Auto?
So the trip to Gatlinburg really is to use the trolley system. It's free. You can park at the visitor center, and it's easier to exit from the visitor center anyway. So we learned that, and we did that the rest of the time.
Let me go. I'm going to go find his channel. I don't think it's A1 Auto. It might be, but he's got a pretty good following. He's like 150,000 followers or subscribers.
I've seen his stuff.
He is hilarious. It's him and his wife, and then his son. They just bought a new truck, and his son took his truck, and now his son's got a channel doing the same thing. And the illegal parks is the only reason I watch him, because those people get freaky. They get mad. You know, he says, hey, I was called to come get your car from these people's place. You take it up with them. But yeah, he's down there. You guys need to go check him out. Anywho.
Yeah. That's been mentioned to us before. It might have been one of y'all. I don't even know. I read so much stuff. I do a lot of reading,
and you don't share.
Don't always, because it's not always.
You share
it doesn't rise to that level.
You tell me the dumb stuff.
What's the his lot is in Gatlinburg, and that's where he tows everything to. But he lives in Pigeon Forge, so I think.
So he's kind of stacking too. Do you see what he's doing? He's stacking.
Right.
Kind of like what the Hells has done. He's videoing while he's working. He's videoing his work. Yep. He's making money and he's videoing it. So they're double stacking.
Smart.
Yeah,
right.
Smart.
I mean, he's making good money off of it, and it's one of those things. Once you figure out your niche, you can run with it. And with you guys, if I were you guys, I'd be doing a vlog every day. Okay, just where I'm 30 minutes talking to the camera, you know, about what your day's like, and then boom, that'd be it. There's your once a day. There's if you wanted to do something like that.
Here's the thing. How do you say? We don't really want to tie up our day with YouTube.
Yeah.
We want to be retired. And honestly, I don't think what we do on a day-to-day is very interesting. We're normal people doing normal things. We make coffee. We make breakfast. We eat the breakfast.
I've never been described as normal.
You would be surprised.
I mean, I don't think
you guys would be surprised how many people enjoy watching that kind of stuff. It's the daily vlog, and there is an actual bunch of people that watch that kind of stuff. You know, just you sitting there eating breakfast, talking to your phone. You know, it makes them feel like they're part of your. But I understand where you're coming from. But there is a niche out there for you guys.
There probably is. Now Jeremy started out doing RV maintenance or something. It didn't take off the way he wanted. So he wanted something else. But Jeremy's got big dreams. Now, there are things that Jeremy is not he's good at a lot of things, but he's not good at sitting still. That's not one of his things. He has to be working. We've been out with him, and there's not many times where he's not working while he's trying to have fun. So he doesn't know how to put it down. That's something he'll have to figure out. I mean, I don't have the answers. I'm just an observer on this.
That's how some people are.
Yeah.
I mean,
the work ethic is great, but I question to what end.
I used to be like that, but I figured out how to stop.
And I had to reel it in a little bit, or it was causing problems between us. Because I wanted to push. I wanted to do a little more with the channel. I wanted to do more, maybe more lives, and I'm watching other people do it. But she had to reel me in and be like, "What's important to you? Because if this is what's important to you, then you need to have your own channel." And it just kind of de-escalated from there.
It just depends on what you want to do with it. I mean, I used to be gun-ho in it. Now, yeah, I do it every morning with Georgie. But after I get off, I don't really focus on it anymore. I know Georgie does. She puts her music up and stuff like that. Me, I'm just to the point to where I'm. If I grow, I grow. If I don't, I don't. Okay. I mean, I retired way before you guys did.
Yeah, and it's everybody's at a different point in their life. Like for Georgie, she might be I'm speculating. I don't really know Georgie, but she has young kids at home. And so she's at home with the kids. That's a decision she's made to be at home. So this is something that she can do and do that.
Right.
There's not a whole lot
Speaking of said kid.
Right. And so whatever little income she gets is helping the pot grow.
Yeah.
That might be the way she's looking at that. I don't want to speak for you. But
You yeah.
Because I've raised kids, and if you decided to go out in the market and work a 9 to 5, now you're paying someone to watch your kids. Maybe that's not lucrative.
Plus, you're missing out on everything.
Yeah, and you're missing out on the whole growth thing with the kids.
I mean, working at the post office, I never saw my son growing up. I actually got him a job at the post office his senior year of high school, and we worked in the same office. And I told my boss it was the only way I could see my kid because I had to bring him to work with me.
The post office will work you from 70 to 80 hours a week until you make regular. And then when you make regular and you're not an RCA anymore, you have an established route with a vehicle, then you're not overtimed so much. Depending on the station, every station can be different.
Unless you work in Ocala.
Yeah, Ocala, they'll send you back out if you're a regular. They don't care. They'll throw the whole football team out there, which is really inefficient. Let's say you got 30 routes.
Don't get on that soapbox.
Yeah, it's a soapbox we don't want to go down. So it would tie up your vlog here. But he'll send if one person's hanging him up from going home, he'll send 10 people out to help him finish, and it's just inefficient. Let him finish. Take it. Let the one guy finish, send the other 9 people home. Get them off the clock. That's how you run a business. Get them off the clock. But no, because he ain't paying the money to them. Someone else is.
Yep.
Yeah. Other things I had for passive income I did want to talk about at some point, Airbnbs and B&Bs. And do people know the difference?
Well, Airbnb, just here's the keys, there you go. But with a B&B, you're a lot more involved.
Yeah, B&B, don't they take care of you the minute you walk in. Your dinner's on the table, breakfast is on the table, lunch is on the table. It's just like walking into a full service hotel, I would assume. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah. So an Airbnb is like you're renting the whole unit. So if the house is an Airbnb, you're getting the whole house to your party's self. A B&B is more like you could be in there with other couples making up the B&B. Now there's going to be breakfast. They're going to, take care of you. Usually it's a breakfast. It's a bed and a breakfast.
I've never stayed at one of those.
I've never have either, but you might be sharing that.
I never have, and I always think of Groundhog Day whenever I think of a B&B.
Now, see, I'm the opposite. I think of Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump's mama had that B&B.
Yep. Now, Jeremy has those Airbnbs in Cedar Key, and we looked at them, and we actually considered one of them. We looked and then decided against it. And there were a couple of reasons for that. One, we don't have Jeremy's money. So what works for him doesn't always work for regular people. And sometimes he forgets that. So could we have made it work? Yes, but I don't think it would have made money for us. We don't have the draw that he has, for one. People will stay there just because of what the hails. We don't have that kind of influence. That's number one. But number two, the HOA fees were insane. I don't remember what they were, but it was insane.
They're over $700 a month, which most beach properties are over $700 a month. Because even the ones in Pensacola or Panama, wherever we were looking at them too, they were high.
Oh, try going to Anna Maria Island, $1,000 for a week.
Yeah,
we did have the P&Ls at the time. Don't remember what they were. I looked at them. We kind of talked about them and then dismissed it for us. But we would have had to rent it out for 270 days out of the year to break even, and that's unreasonable to think that it's going to rent every day of the week. And the reason I think it was unreasonable is because people go to Cedar Key for a couple of different reasons, and one of the biggest reasons is not there anymore. The strip of bars, they're gone. So until they rebuild that attraction is gone. Now there's fishing. They still have that. But I don't think that's the biggest draw to Cedar Key. The peaceful, just want to sit in your hotel and enjoy the ocean. Okay, there's that. But I don't think that's the biggest draw. I think the biggest draw is the people wanted to hit the strip and hit the restaurants and the bars and then enjoy the ocean. So that piece missing. Cedar Key is in a kind of pretty remote area. To go to any decent shopping, you got to drive all the way to Gainesville, and it's about an hour and 15 minutes. So it's pretty far.
Now,
I wouldn't consider Chiefland a decent place to shop.
How are their beaches? Because everything I've seen as far as their beaches go look like they're loaded with cypress needs and oyster shells. How?
They have a city beach there, and in front of the hotel, they kind of have a little beach. I don't know how swimmable it is.
It's a little tiny. I don't call it a beach.
Yeah.
It ain't a beach.
It's not a beach as you
For
would
me.
call Florida Beach. No, it's not that.
Are rentals truly passive income? Seems like a lot of work and added expenses like insurance and cleaning.
I was reading that.
Yeah, you do have those expenses
You have
for
those
sure.
expenses, but it's passive if you're not directly involved in it.
Yeah.
If it's just a bill for you, then it's passive income for you.
Well, look at Jeremy.
You're not going to.
Jeremy has a lady that she takes care of cleaning those things when guests move out. Before the new guests come in, she goes in, she cleans it, she stocks it with whatever needs to be stocked. So to him, that is passive as far as I'm concerned, because he has somebody to take care of everything, management, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, I think for 1 year he has the staff management that was already there. So he hasn't had to fill that. Now, he wouldn't have any problems filling that, but yes, so there is someone on payroll that takes care of that for him. Yes.
I've never heard him say anything bad about the lady that does it. Matter of fact, he talks nothing but good things about her. So I don't see him getting rid of her.
No,
probably not. I haven't heard anything different than what you've heard.
But yeah,
cleaning Airbnbs are not for the week.
No.
By any means. I had 20 turnovers a day at one point in time during the mid.
He was also very particular.
I don't think I'd want to do that.
He was particular too about how big the unit was, because they have 4 and 5 bedroom units, and he's not interested in those. And reason is he doesn't want pets and he doesn't want kids for the most part. I mean, that's his ideology. Now, if he gets a kid here and there, not much he can say or do about it. But he doesn't; those things he doesn't want because they create damage. They don't make you any money. He wants couples or one person. So he got a small unit that accommodates couples or one person.
Mom and I had talked about rentals at one time, and that's where we were going, was the older people that didn't have kids or pets, just, maybe 1, maybe 2 bedroom, and that was it. And it was just a middle-aged to older couple, because they're used to cleaning up after themselves. The young people pretty much aren't.
Same in the campground. You get a camper with a bunch of kids, you're going to have a bunch of problems because you can't keep them in that small space. So where are they going to be? Out in everybody's areas. And you end up parenting them at some point in a way because you're out there working and they're talking to you. So now you're interacting with them and that's not passive.
Right. So for someone that did
So
the
to answer
cleanups
this question,
and the turnovers, I would prefer to do the turnovers for the ones that had the kids and the animals over the couples because they were some freaky couples in those units.
well, the freaky stuff, I would just put gloves on and laugh at it, but wouldn't bother me.
Well, I think what Britt's talking about is the damage that children can accidentally do, like lamps knocked off the counter, windows busted from throwing toys. That's where
a 4-year-old drawing on
that's
the wall.
where it would get to be a pain in the ass for the kids to be involved.
Looking into these hotel rooms in Vegas that I'm looking to buy for my business, we're actually focusing on more of the smaller rooms as well, only because those tend to rent out more. The money at the end of the day, the smaller versus bigger rooms, they do tend to even out. But we were like, no, we want something that we think is going to rent out a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got to look at your demographic area and what the attraction is. Like, what is attracting people there? For Jeremy and these Airbnbs, a lot of the attraction can be just their fans.
Right. Yeah,
their fans want a chance to see Jeremy, whether they see him or not. That's kind of up to him. But he could incorporate a visit to the ranch, but you might be opening yourself up to a whole bunch of
Bad idea.
I don't think he'll do
Bad
it.
idea.
I just don't think he'll do it. But yeah, it would take off and he could get more rent that way. He's aware of that.
Well, when he was on with us here a while back, one of his big things were community. Build your community. And that's where he has capitalized like a crazy man right there. He's built his community on YouTube. Yeah. He's pulled a big percentage of that over onto Whatnot, to where before you just went and bought it on eBay. You didn't interact with him. Now with Whatnot, his people are able to interact with him. And like you said, Britt, that's that revolving money, right? He goes to storage units, he buys them, he films himself, and then he films himself selling them.
Yep, and a big part of his live, half of it, he talks about the court cases, of course, because that's what everybody's waiting to hear about. But the other half is promoting his Whatnot with his $100, or $100 coupon that you can win. It's brilliant marketing.
He's
giving people what they want.
And I, if you want to build a community, that listen to him, he's dead on it, dead on as far as I'm concerned. You got to build that community. You got to build you a fan base. He calls it community, I call it fan base. You get that built up, and then if you want to go into any other directions, like you said, with it all being one, that's the easiest way to go to keep it rolling, to keep the money still coming in.
Yeah. And he does push a video out every day. And that's a lot of work.
Yep.
And anytime you see him, even if he's expecting you, he'll give you 10 minutes and then he's like, you want to keep talking, let's follow me. I got stuff to do. But he liked that about us because we didn't care if he went to work. He didn't have to entertain us. We'd go in there. If I had some things I wanted to say to him, I'd say it right off the rip, and then, he'd be on his horse. But he was always editing. He'll fall asleep editing. Everything on his phone. The guy's a work animal. He loves what he's doing. He loves to. So I'm not saying that in a negative way.
I got to hand it to him. That editing on his phone is crazy. I couldn't do that. I have to do it all on the computer. There's no way I could do it on the phone.
She edits.
Oh my God. I feel sorry for you.
And I don't do any of it. I've only dabbled in it a little bit, but I've
got this big old sucker and I still hate it. I would rather use my computer, pull it all in computer.
Edit on the computer, but I will edit on the
It
phone.
might be
I've
easier.
never edited on the computer.
Yeah.
Jeremy said use your phone, and that's what I've always done.
Yeah.
You can just on the computer, you can get a little finer in it and put a little more flair into it, but it's
Well, once she finishes the editing, then she'll go on the computer once it uploads, and then she'll place commercials.
There
and
you
all
go.
That. But she doesn't. The bulk of the editing is all done on the phone.
I tried my first live stream ever on my phone at the beach here a few weeks ago, and I could not figure out how to get it to go landscape. So I'm sitting there, everybody saying, "Where till you're turned sideways on my," and I could not get it to turn. And finally, what I do, I got on YouTube. It's easy now.
I had that problem a couple times with some live streams like a year or so.
Well,
ago.
we got an update on this dang Samsung, and used to it would auto rotate, right? Now it doesn't. When you go to rotate it, you have to literally hit a little button in the corner of it to make it rotate. And that's what the problem was.
Or if you have your screen locked
Right.
and don't realize it, then you got to go like that.
Every time they update the phone, they just screw everything up.
Yeah, some of those defaults change.
That last weekend, or the weekend before last, or last weekend, we went to the beach. I got it to work, and I'd be danged, it was up for 2 days, and I accidentally deleted it, and it's gone. It's gone. Oh, I was mad because that was a fun day. Anyway, passive income. What else you got for us there, Brett?
Oh, renting kayaks and canoes. I wrote that down because Travis has talked about that. I think that's a small capital investment. And you can also, if it doesn't work out, you can unload them pretty quickly. I think that's something. But again, you have to be in the right area. You have to be not too far away from where people want to use those things.
I like the RV and boat storage yards.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is a great idea.
We've
And I've seen
thought
one
about
in the
that.
villages where they have people living on the property in a little mobile home. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that is nice. They get a place to live right there.
It's gated.
Yeah.
That's
that
a big
one
thing
was-
in Florida.
Yep.
It needs to
That
be a
one
gated
is
community.
really nice.
Now, see, that would,
When I first
I've
visited,
never seen that. A storage facility that you could live. That if I was going to do a storage facility, that's what I would do, where you could live on the property, because that's just
There's one outside the villages. It's
that's
genius.
paying your mortgage. I mean, your storage.
Right.
The
Yeah.
owners live there. That's passive income.
Yep. It's genius.
Once you build
Right,
it,
right.
now, it's going to be some expense with the asphalt and the shade ports, and some of them have power and whatnot.
So
You're going to get the money back on those. People will spend $100, $200 a month for a nice paved, covered with power storage unit.
Yeah,
I-
it's
I
expensive.
won't, but people will.
I had a friend of mine who he had a business where he was doing the bird scooters, which are the electric scooters where you take your app and then you just buzz around on the scooter. And for the most part, that was passive, other than people would sometimes leave them places and he'd have to go with a truck and pick it up and bring it back. But he was trying to talk me into it. I just didn't see it here in this city being that viable. I could absolutely, in a place like Cedar Key, see that being a great one. He eventually got out of it because the big problem he was having was people stealing them and taking them to Mexico, and they would either take the batteries out and resell the batteries, or they would retool them so that then they could, like, mess with the electronics, so then they could just drive it around themselves and have a electric scooter. So when that started happening, it became less profitable and he sold out. But in some place like Cedar Key or even Gatlinburg, I could see that as a potential passive income.
Now, being here in Florida,
Yeah. I didn't see any of them in Gatlinburg.
Brett's idea with the kayaks, that's a good idea, because you have people, the companies like Pelican and Pelican. I know Pelican's one of them. They literally have plans set up for people that want to get in business doing that. So they will hook you up with everything you need for a monthly payment, and your kayaks are basically, you rent them for what you want. And they pay for themselves. So Pelican's a good one for that. I think Lifetime, I'm not sure, but matter of fact, that reminds
I think if you lived in an area that had a lazy river kind of thing going, kind of like Silver Springs in Ocala, people like Silver Springs. A lot of people come there, and they got public boat ramps that you can use. So you could have a nice 2-hour ride and then go get them, pick them up. And it's all public, so you could do that for free. You don't need access or own property or have special access permissions or anything.
Well, a lot of your small beaches, like say you're going to Clearwater, and you're taking I-4 to Clearwater, you've got to go across Ben T. Davis Beach, across the bridge, and then into Clearwater. Well, Ben T. Davis Beach is just right off the road. There's guys that they'll take their kayaks on their trailers. They'll set right up there on the side of the beach. People come rent them, and then they bring them back. Anna Marie Island, same thing. They'll drive up, set right on the side of the beach. People will rent them.
Yeah, that's passive income, except that are they there all day? So they have to wait.
Well,
kind of like running a lemonade stand.
They have certain hours. You can rent them for 1 hour, 4 hours, or 8 hours. So depending on how your people rent them, I think a day is 8, maybe 6 hours. I can't remember, but there's 3 different rentals. There's a 1 hour, a 4 hour, and there's another one. But they have a time limit, and the person renting them has your driver's license. He has your keys, so you have to come back.
I'd be putting air tags on.
Oh yeah.
In Florida for real.
They provide you a life jacket, the kayak, and the paddles. That's it. And so the paddles and the life jackets, they're easy to replace. They're cheap to replace. The kayaks, they aren't the top of the line. They're probably $200 kayaks. But, hey, it's enough. Exactly. And you figure you get 10 of those, you got less than $3,000 tied up in your kayaks. Then you throw another $1,000 on there for your trailer. But I don't know if you have to be permitted, and that's one thing I need to check on.
Yeah, I don't know. I would think you need some kind of liability insurance.
Right. Anyway, I think that would be awesome, especially living here in Florida. Now, up there where Skipper lives, now, I mean, come on. What are you going to do? What are you going to do in the desert with a kayak?
Take it to Hoover Dam.
I do have a question because Brett, you're a veteran too. I get a lot of people who reach out to me for this, and I don't know if you guys have ever looked into it, but they have a lot of offers out there for veterans to have franchises. Have you ever?
I got to put my veteran hat on for this.
Do you guys experience a lot of people reaching out? Have you ever considered it, or?
I haven't. No.
Explain a little better there, Mikey. I didn't even understand that one.
A lot of franchises, just different businesses, and a lot of them will do special things for veterans. A big one is Little Caesars Pizza. If you want to start a Little Caesars Pizza and you're a veteran, they're gonna reach out to you and give you a lot more. Like you're gonna get a cheaper franchise fee. They'll give you like loans to get you more established, because that Little Caesars was a veteran-owned business. Same thing with and the owner just passed. The founder, FedEx. If you do a FedEx store, there's a lot of franchise fees that they do for stuff like that. So I just wasn't sure if I get.
No, I haven't.
I didn't know.
I haven't looked into that.
I get so many, and maybe it's because my business is publicly out there because I do stuff with the government, so I have to make it public. I get a lot of franchises reaching out to me for just various different things.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. Makes sense, though. I mean, just like you got your VA loans and stuff, it makes sense that franchises would reach out to veterans and try and help them, along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought if they wanted to really fix the post office, they should fire all of the middle management hire off retired officers or officers separating from the service and put them in as postmasters across the board. But you got to do it all at once. Clean
Well,
sweep.
see, when did that change, Brett? Because I know when I was growing up, it was hard to get a job at the post office. You had to be from the military or law enforcement or something like that and know somebody to get a job.
You get a 5-point preference on the test you take.
It got easier over the years because nobody wants to work there anymore.
There's a high turnover.
So before, everybody used to look at it as a prestigious job and they were honored to work there. And now they can't keep people there because the management treats everyone like garbage and they have all these stupid safety standards. So hurry up, hurry, but be safe. And it's a joke. And they just don't know how to run the place. So nobody wants to work there. So they'll say, oh, yeah, we're getting paid $20 an hour and you want us to do all this stuff. You can take your job and shove it. People just don't care anymore. They're like, I can go down the street and make $3 less an hour and I don't have to put up with all this.
But you know when you're getting off work. That's the biggest thing there is when you go out to deliver mail, you don't know when you're getting off.
Yeah, and the substitutes don't get any benefits like the regulars do. So they're really treated like garbage. And you could stay a substitute. I was a substitute for 8.5 years.
Wow.
Some people 10 years, some people 2 years. It just depends on the offices and the different dynamics going on at the time. So they really just treat you like trash. So people are like, there's no loyalty anymore. So people aren't going to hang in like that because they're not treated right.
I apologize, Skipper. I hijacked your.
You're good. You're good. I'm looking at
hijacked your stuff there, bud.
When she means substitute, let's say you put in to be a carrier, you're not regular right away. You have to. It's not merit based. That's the problem with it. If it was merit based, where you had performance evaluations and you could jump people that were garbage because they're lazy, then it would be better. But it's not merit-based at all.
It's all seniority.
It's all seniority, strictly time-based.
Wow.
So your worst carrier can be the next one to make regular.
Wow.
So when you're first hired on, you're only guaranteed 1 day every other week. Now you'll get more than that in most offices. You'll probably never get a day off in most offices, but officially you're only guaranteed 1 day every 2 weeks, and you have to jump from route to route to route to route until you make regular, and then you get the same route every day. So it's just a lot of crap.
So an office can have 30 different routes. Each route can have up to 750, 800 stops. So you have to memorize that many stops. As a sub, you can be put on any route in that office. So 800 stops times 30 routes.
Wow.
That's a whole lot of memorizing. And this is not a self-paced position. This is a extremely high, fast-paced, multitasking position. It's crazy what goes on behind the post office, behind the scenes, before they call what they call hitting the street, where your work really starts. You have to case all the mail that's not cased. So that means you have to take an all out of order mail, look at it, and remember where the slot is. So there's
get on this soapbox.
there's a scheme that they call it a scheme, and you have to memorize all the addresses that are in the case in order. It's insane. It's a lot.
Skipper.
So your mind is like buzzing before you even hit the street. Now you got to hit the street. Now you got to deliver. And you got the seniors are yelling at you, get out of the post office, get on the street. If you ain't done already, pull your mail. You're on the street.
You wouldn't have lasted a day.
Not without calling somebody off.
Well, you can tell people off. You go postal. I mean, that's okay.
I don't know how she did it that long. And she supervised for a while. She said that was the worst thing she ever did.
So, Skipper, have you thought about doing any of the franchise stuff that, veterans are looked at?
I actually have. There's a couple that I know I would need to invest of my time. So it would not be passive. But there's several that I know would be very successful. For instance, I'm out here in the desert and Palm Springs is 40 minutes away. Well, in that area, there's a lot of snowbirds, a lot of people, especially from Canada. And they put in a new hockey arena. They've got a new hockey team. But there's one thing that they have all over Canada that you don't find anywhere down here, and that's a Tim Hortons franchise. Tim Hortons.
I knew it.
They're owned by Burger King. I have looked into a Tim Hortons franchise. I've also looked, because I'm also near the base, I've looked into, everyone on base loves Chick-fil-A. What would it take to build a Chick-fil-A? And it's super cheap to do a Chick-fil-A. The problem with Chick-fil-A is you're not a franchise owner. You're a franchise manager. Chick-fil-A will always own it. So it's nothing that I could pass down to my son or anything like that. So with Chick-fil-A, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. But for Tim Hortons, I would consider it. I just know it would be incredibly successful in the Palm Springs area because of how many Canadians there are.
You've been to Tim Hortons?
Oh, yeah.
They're pretty pricey. They're good, but
they
pricey.
are. I take it it's a restaurant.
It's a donut shop.
Coffee shop.
A what?
It's like a donut coffee shop.
Like a Dunkin' Donuts.
Donut coffee shop.
Oh, okay. I got you. Like a Dunkin' Donuts.
It's they outnumber McDonald's in Canada. Like, they're everywhere.
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere.
If you know Canadians, they will tell you directions by how to get to the closest Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
Ours would be Circle K here.
I've looked at a couple.
A lot of Circle K.
There is a part of town where we do need a gas station. I've had someone talk to me about putting one in. Again, investment of time. There's a couple things here that are not franchises that I'm looking for, with this area, because this base, 29 Palms, is one of the few Marine Corps bases that has expanded in the last 5 years and has the ability to expand in the next 10. And I actually think there's probably going to be at least 2,000 more Marines move to this base. This is the only Marine Corps base I can tell you, long-term outlook, this base ain't going anywhere because it's the only place you can train.
You can train. They want space to train.
Now, here's a question.
Part of me buying this house, I always, when I bought this house, I knew I was going to live in it for a couple years, make it a little bit nicer, and then rent it out to a Marine family. That's my goal.
Now, question for you, Skipper, with the VA stuff. All right, you get a lot of people from overseas that come here and they become citizens and the government hands them money. I mean, just here, go buy yourself a convenience store or go buy yourself a gas station, and they give them all this money. Normal people like Georgie and I that aren't veterans, we don't have those options. Do veterans have options like that available to them, like people coming from other countries?
Not for loans. Or there's grant money out there, but grants are pretty tough to get, I've found. But there's no loans. Everyone's like, well, I want to use a VA loan for a small business. There's really not any. If you want to, like, finding a franchise place that'll give you a loan, they do that all the time for veterans. But yeah, the SBA will sometimes have veteran loans, but they're normally all lumped in with other things. And that has been a challenge of my company. While and this is, I'll give you guys my business model. So I own a federal contracting company. I'm a service disabled veteran owned business. I own 51% of the company. Now, what that means is when the federal government contracts stuff, they have to give 8% of those contracts to a company like mine by law. So when they put these contracts out, they'll call them a disenfranchised business set aside. I and other disenfranchised businesses, we can bid on that, whereas other companies cannot. And the other thing is I can also partner with bigger companies like KBR, Lockheed Martin. If they have big contracts and they're going to subcontract, they have to follow the government laws as well. But what I'm doing is I'm going to bigger companies and saying, make my company a vendor so that I can bid a higher price and get one of those set asides, and that way you're going to make more money. You could absolutely go around me, but even with me taking a cut of that money, I can bid that. So that's why we formed our company, to take advantage of those laws, because when I was overseas, everything was contracted. The chow hall, our mail, all that stuff, all contracted. So, and I worked as a contract office representative. And then after I got out, I worked for contractors. So I've seen both sides. So I know the rules. I know what the expectations are. So that's why and we're actually bidding tomorrow on a uh, on a contract that's in Kuwait. So, you know, it's been a slow go with it because I have to earn the trust of these bigger companies.
So what else you got on that list over there, Brett?
I think that was it.
Yep.
I think this was a great stream because I think a lot of people who will watch this, you know, you have to put your mind in a business mode and look for opportunities. I don't think a lot of people do that.
Hello.
One of my many alarms.
She has a ton of alarms that tell her things that she has to do.
Lists and
For a
alarms.
second, I thought that was Coop. He's got all those crazy.
Yeah, it got me earlier, and I put it on Do Not Disturb. My mail starts going off. My whip wheel, it goes crazy. Oh, but I did change it.
All her alarms.
Now it's a loon.
Her alarms.
What's that, Brett?
Her alarms all tell her when to post stuff, when to release a video, when to do the thumbnail. She has each one has a different tone and tells her what to do before she even turns
Well,
it
if
off.
you don't have lists and alarms, you don't got enough going on, buddy.
I do a lot of, I've been trying to do a lot more YouTube shorts, and I'll tell you, I edit them in Instagram because Instagram just does really well for that. But I'll schedule it in Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter all to go out at the same time. So I kind of do my stuff that way.
That's good.
That makes
the
it
shorts
easy.
thing. I'm just not used to because it wasn't around when I quit YouTube. That the shorts were not around. There's a lot of new stuff that's popped up since COVID and now. I mean, this past year coming back to YouTube, there's a lot of stuff Georgie's had to teach me that I didn't know that didn't exist a long time ago. So, TikTok, Instagram. I've been on Instagram for a while. TikTok, I'm not a creator on TikTok. I'm just a lurker, a troll. But
you're a lurker anyway, regardless of whatever.
No, I am a high class troll, young lady. That's what I am. I troll everyone.
You're a lurker.
You're in Georgie's scope.
I've been focusing on my ex, and you guys might know I crossed 5,000 subscribers, which was my goal. So I crossed that, and today I am over halfway to monetization. So me focusing on my ex is starting to pay off. So hopefully I'll get that monetized, and then I'll have, when I do these streams, I won't just have, be out on different places, but I'll be monetized.
I see X, Twitter, I've just never been able to figure that out completely yet. I mean, I'm on it. I've been on it for years, but I don't do anything but just post my links over there. I never could figure it out.
The best way I can explain that one is it's a conversation. Twitter is a conversation. I've been on Twitter since 2010, and the big reason is I like news and information, and Twitter is by far the fastest one to get it to you. So that's why I've never left Twitter. But it's a conversation. Once you approach it as a conversation, you start getting more attention. I've kind of neglected True Social, which is essentially Twitter. I'm not on there having the conversation. I'll post my links, but I really need to get in there and just start conversing with people and just responding to people's stuff. That's really all you have to do.
Now talk
Wow.
about trolling. That's what Mikey does. He actually trolls people. You watch people.
Do you guys want a very quick court update from me on my case?
Oh dear.
Which
Sure.
The restraining order that I'm
okay.
seeking. I got a response from the respondent's attorney. They are asking me for a whole bunch of stuff, but they sent me a special interrogation, and half of it was my old Twitter accounts. They want to know. They want me to answer these questions about my old Twitter accounts because I had a stolen when I first started doing the show. I had a stolen valor group who just got convinced that I was stolen valor for some reason, and they started just attacking me. And I'm not the type of guy like I'm not going to ignore it. I'm just going to troll you right back. So I started trolling them back. And years ago, they had taken screenshots and they sent them to my ex's divorce attorney trying to interfere with my divorce in some way, like it applies. None of it's relevant. But that put it on my ex's radar. And I'm going for, a restraining order on her boyfriend. So I know that's where that came from because it's not my current Twitter account. But I just found that incredibly funny. When all this is said and done, I will show the documents on the channel, and we'll have a good laugh.
You're the plaintiff in this. How can they be asking you for shit? I mean, you're the plaintiff.
That's a really good question. It's an extension of the harassment that they've been doing to me. And they got a lawyer who is he's a bulldog. He wants to harass me too. So I'm not bothered by this. But they were asking me specifically. It was who is the Twitter account Old Gravy Leg, and I hope to God when I get to court that I have to answer these questions on the stand because Old Gravy Leg is a diarrhea joke.
Well, I mean, it's going to be cut and dry. You've got an actual video of the guy attacking you, so it's going to be cut and dry. They're trying to create havoc.
Attacking me, and that was over a year ago, but as recently as this spring, he was coming to events where he knew I was going to be. And, I was willing to let all that go. But after that, I was like, no, I got to get a restraining order. And I just don't want this guy anywhere near me. So.
Now, see, this is one thing about California I don't like because you would have had that restraining order down here. I mean, when he laid hands on you, it would have been automatic right there on the spot. Cops would have gave you a temporary. You'd have went before a judge, and judge would have gave you a full time. I mean, physically attacking somebody, that's all the evidence the judge needs.
A non-corrupt judge.
Much like Lynette and Bruce and them, my ex and her attorneys love to delay. That's all. They think that by delaying it, it's going to go away. It hasn't. And really, all the legal problems that they're about to run into could have all ended if they just left me alone.
Huh? Story we all know too well.
That part.
Oh my goodness!
I don't want to talk too much because it's an active case,
right.
But I did get that, and it was really funny. I can show you guys all offline, and you will get a laugh. But
I was fixing to hush. Don't get yourself in trouble.
Oh no! So I did hire an attorney though.
That's coming up in August, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we got yours in August and we got Jeremy's in August. Oh, this is going to be a fun summer.
I know mine's going to get delayed again. That's their strategy. And Jeremy's is probably going to get delayed again.
Well, I'm starting to think that Jeremy's cases are just not ever going to have an end date. I think they're just going to go on and on and on. Because, I mean, the more information that comes out, it just sounds like a broken
Right.
record.
It's
the same thing over and over and over.
I got to commend it to Jeremy when it comes to this second one he's got with these 10 defendants. That's absolutely nuts. That his bill is going to just skyrocket with 10 people. Look at what it's done with just Crook and Lynette. I mean,
he'll be putting Randy's kids through college.
Right. But anyway, we didn't come here to talk about that.
No,
I better stop.
We've been an hour and 40 minutes. It's getting late for you guys. We should probably wrap things up.
Yeah. But yeah, we would, we're competing with Tug and Megan right now. So, you guys were talking about Jeremy's fans are a lot of your fans. Well, it's the same way with us. A lot of our fans are their fans. So, but
correct. Yeah, they can watch it
exactly, and they will. They'll watch it on the restream, the replay.
Yep.
I used to have only dudes watching my show, and now it's like women. It's funny.
But I've had fun.
You're still single.
There's Momo.
A lot of it's because I'm covered and I won't change.
I've had fun and I learned a lot.
He's still a girlfriend in the background.
What?
The mama. Oh yeah.
She's got a broken neck.
Yeah.
You broke neck. He won't blow her back up.
Yeah, mine's live, walking around back there.
She looks wore out.
I didn't blow her up because
what they say in Florida, ridden hard and put away wet.
So I don't know if you guys all saw, I've been doing hot tub streams because I got my blow up hot tub, and I didn't blow her up because I thought I was going to take her in the hot tub, and I literally walked past her and forgot to take her in the hot tub.
And
I asked you every time, where's Lacey?
And this is why he's single. Could you imagine dating him and he just walked past you and forget you exist?
Where are you taking the blow up doll? To the hot tub?
But I've had a blast. I learned a lot tonight. Gave me some ideas.
You got any more questions from your chat? They normally come up with some pretty good questions.
I mean, the last question we had was Joan, who asked what happened to loyalty and work ethics.
COVID.
I think there's a lot with that one.
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, I started seeing that stuff disappear in the 90s, 2000s. It was getting worse, and by the time we hit 2010, it's just downhill.
When loyalty went away, when things went super corporate.
Yep. Well, think about it. When we were younger, a lot of us, when we were younger, most of our stuff was American made. Now, most of our stuff is made from other countries coming in. So it's China. And, they can offer it for less money. They don't have as many legal, loopholes they have to jump through like our companies here have to.
Yeah, everything's disposable. A lot of relationships have gotten disposable too. People don't want to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were talking backstage about I know Mike there likes to watch Married at First Sight. Well, we do too. We watch Married at First Sight. We watch it through the app Match Married Meet, which is a Lifetime app. So we live stream it and we're able to watch all the seasons. But there's you would think the women would be the ones that are kind of bat crazy. It's the men, man. I feel sorry for these women with these men they're getting paired up to,
married to
with
him.
a few exceptions.
I was about to say that out loud.
The Married at First Sight thing is crazy, and it's like one little thing, a little yellow flag, and they just want to. That's it. I'm done. Like everything's disposable. They don't want to do any work.
Yeah.
Relationships are work.
Nobody likes the circus anymore with the red flags just flapping in your face. I thought I was at the circus.
Yeah.
Well, once upon a time, I know when I was dating years ago, I mean, a bologna sandwich and a hot beer on the back of the tailgate of the truck, that's the date we had, and everybody enjoyed that. Now you got to go to these $200 a night restaurants. You got to spend a fortune just to date in today's society from what I've seen. It's crazy.
I say just make some fried bologna.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gourmet.
We're both pretty thrifty with our money. We kind of give things serious consideration when it's a big purchase. Smaller stuff, though. I mean, and I mean, I think we're pretty good with money. I mean, if we run out of money, it ain't because we frivolously spent on stupid stuff. So I didn't always have a partner in life that saw things that way.
Well, when I retired in 2010, I took all of my retirement and sunk it into CDs, and they're just sitting there. That's where they stay. They don't get touched. That for when I'm gone, that's mama's money. Okay. Mama will have nothing to worry about. So that's I just live I got my little business here. I make little money here and there. Not like I used to, but I need to get my ass back in my shop. That's where I need to get. I mean, I've got the CNC, I got the laser, I got the lathes. I've got all the tools to do the job. I just need to get the urge to go do it.
Just do things you
Right.
enjoy doing first.
Oh, I love every bit of that stuff. It's just I get melancholy and I just forget about it. I sit there on this dang thing all day or the computer.
Yeah.
Set an alarm.
Yeah, set an alarm. Set
on
an
the phone.
alarm. I'm still working on
You'll yell at
Georgie
me.
and I's keychains.
We're going to go back to making lists. We didn't get nothing done
Right.
today. It's like, so we got lists.
I gotta be a drill sergeant.
Yeah.
Oh.
She's got lists over there on the counter every day. Here's what we're going to do.
Because Georgie and I's got a good idea to make money, with our streams every day. I just got to get out there and finish my part of it, which is on the laser with our keychains.
Where's that
Yeah.
whip?
Exactly.
Apparently, I'm the only one that
what's
gets the whip, so.
No,
I'm gonna get
Skipper's
Mama
got
to
it.
break your voice mod. I swear. I hate that button.
Well, at least you ain't got none of these tonight.
I can deal with the crickets.
I miss the frogs after a Florida rain. The frogs would be.
Yep. The frogs and the whippoorwills.
We got a lot of mourning doves here around the lake.
Oh my. Well,
And I swore, I like loons. The sound of
Yep.
a loon, I think, is beautiful. Nothing more beautiful from a bird. And I thought I heard one the other day, and I looked up. I ran to my phone. Do they have loons in Tennessee? And they actually do. In the spring and fall, they have loons here. And I was like, oh, can't wait to see a loon.
well, my messenger
And we were on the boat the other day, and we think we saw one.
my messengers used to have the whippoorwill. Now it's got the loon. And Georgie and Mike, they've heard this 100 times because we'll be on a live and that thing will go off if I don't forget to set do not disturb.
Yeah.
You always forget to not.
Oh yeah, I forget a lot.
Come on, chat. Where are your questions at?
Yeah.
Cicadas.
I miss cicadas.
Cicadas are horrible. Mm-mm.
Cicadas.
Ever since I moved from Ohio and Virginia, I haven't heard many cicadas out here. We don't really get them, and when I go back, it's always either in the winter or the summer. So
Where in Virginia did you live?
I was stationed at Quantico, so lived there. That was interesting. I do not want to live in the Beltway any time soon.
But no, cicadas, we had a lot of those in Missouri. I'm pretty sure Missouri, because they get loud during the summertime.
Oh yeah, when you get into August, yeah, they get loud.
It's like a cricket on crack. I mean, those things are just absolutely nuts when they get rolling.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got
We
here?
had a lot of those.
Push the lightning bugs are awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
No,
lightning
I don't see
bugs.
any. I don't see any more questions. I'm looking.
We get lightning bugs here.
Oh yeah, the kids were out catching lightning bugs the other day. Then they bring them in the jar, and they're like, "Look, Mom, we have a pet."
There's almost not a day that doesn't go by that we don't have deer in the yard. This neighborhood, with the exception of a couple people, embraces the deer in the neighborhood. They just walk at will. They're not scared of cars. You do have a couple people that don't want them in here and they want to shoot them. but you can't hunt in here, and that'll be a discussion at our annual HOA meeting.
Oh,
It's not a bad HOA. It's just a boat ramp key is all they govern.
gotcha.
But they meet once a year, and it's coming up here. July 4th is where they usually meet, right around
You
July
got any?
4th. And then they do fireworks on the
You
lake.
got any good fish in that lake?
So
Yeah,
I hear mixed stories. I haven't fished it yet. Georgie might know more about it.
the husband used to work on the lake, and there's some massive catfish in there. Like
Okay.
humongous.
I don't know.
And-
When I lived in Missouri, that's the biggest man-made lake in the United States, Lake of the Ozarks. And those guys love their bass fishing up there. So I go fishing with my boss up there, and you catch a 2-pound bass, and he's just going crazy. This is huge. This is huge. I said, that's bait back home. He didn't believe me until I got back home, and I went out fishing, and I sent him a picture, said, hey, you like this 10-pounder? But yeah, I don't know about. I've never seen big fish up there. Now, big catfish and spoonbill, yeah, but I don't know about bass.
They say there's walleye.
They say there's walleye, and I've heard they're hard to catch, though. But that's supposed to
In
be
Tennessee?
the best eating fish.
Walleye are really
wow.
good, and yeah, they are. They're hard to catch, but when you do catch them, they're fun to catch because they pull.
Oh yeah,
And that's why they're so hard to catch, is because they'll grab the bait and pull, and a lot of times you think you're stuck on a thing, so you're not really setting the hook. You're more just pulling it to get it loose, and that's why they're hard.
And this lake is big. It's 10,700 acres in size. It touches 3 towns.
Yep.
And it's up to 150 feet deep in some
whoa,
spots.
that's deep.
Mm-hmm.
That's deep.
It's a very deep lake. We like it. It's very sought after. It's very clean. The biggest complaint are the wakeboarders who show very little consideration to people putting in and taking out on boat ramps. You know, they'll make wakes and not really pay attention to who they're disturbing with their wakes. That's the biggest complaint. But that's mostly on the
Now,
weekends.
That lake's not man-made though. That's
Yes,
nature
it is.
made, right? Is it man-made?
It's man-made.
When
Yeah.
was it? When was it created? Do you know?
The early 30s.
Ooh.
Was it? Because the Bagnell Dam, with it being when they put in Bagnell Dam and it created Lake of the Ozarks, it's what I consider a fairly young waterway. So yes, a lot of the fish aren't that big because it's a fairly young lake, river, whatever you want to call it. But if you got, but yours is like a lake, right? It's like a
Yeah.
round lake. It's not like a river.
Well, it branches
It's
off.
more long and strung out. It's more young. It's long and strung out, and it has a lot of fingers.
Yes.
To it.
Yeah, it's similar to Lake of the Ozarks. Lake of the Ozarks is crazy. It's all over the state.
It's not very wide across it. You can definitely see
Right.
across it. You could swim across it at
Well,
any point.
there's some spots where you can't see the other side, where it's just
Well,
trees.
they've got literal towns underwater from when they built Bagnell Dam. Towns, houses, communities, where it all flooded. There's that stuff still down there. But
It amazes me a lot of the homes in this area where we live. We're in the Highland Ridge subdivision. I guess it's a subdivision. Most of them are half acre, just over half an acre lot if you have one lot. But the people don't have a place to park their trailer, and their houses are on a very steep embankment to the lake in most cases. And they build an extra road that takes them down to their boat dock. And that's the thing here. Like, we're one of the few houses that's not touching water. We can see the water. We have a water view, but we don't have water access from the property. And it's like, oh, so you trailer your boat down to the boat ramp? I was like, yeah, it's not a big deal. It takes 10 minutes. I'm on the water. But that's a thing here, is that you have a dock and your boat's on the dock and you're one of those. But most of the neighbors don't live here full time. They live in Nashville or surrounding area, and then they come here on the weekends. And then all winter, you don't see them. So it's a second home for most of the residents here.
that's how my home was in Missouri. It was top tier, and you could look out off of my balcony and you could see the lake down there during the wintertime. And during the summertime when the trees were in bloom, you couldn't see it. But yeah, I didn't have a dock access. But hell, there was
Most of them don't have. Most of these homes are spectacular. They're large, they're beautiful, but they don't have garages. Or if they do, it's just a car garage. They can't get a pontoon boat.
oh yeah,
in it.
watching
And so most of them, they'll think nothing to buy a $40,000 half-acre property. It doesn't touch the water just to park their trailer.
watching
On. And that's the whole reason.
watching
It's
Jeff,
crazy.
you know, going through those hills of Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. I'm like, man, these people, how do they get in and out of this place during the wintertime? I mean, for Christ, it's crazy. I thought we had it bad in Missouri, but geez, in Tennessee, no, their driveways are just straight up the hill. Nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mailman leaves the package at the top of the driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's some of the homes are pretty steep. You look at the house and it looks modest, but if you see it from the side, it's like 4 stories and there's decks all the way down.
my grandparents had a place in North Carolina they bought on the side of the mountain. TWA owned the whole mountain. Well, they bought it for their employees. The employees decided they didn't want anything to do with it. So they started selling it off to private individuals. And Grandpa had to have a dozer come in, and his lot was it was on an incline. So he had to have that dozer level off enough to where he could put a mobile home on there, and it was tight getting in there on both sides. I don't see how people build like that. It'd be crazy, especially in the wintertime. Nuts. Because y'all's wintertime's pretty long up there, isn't it?
The winter? I don't think so. The coldest we got, I think, was 8 degrees, and it lasted a day or two. And it wasn't all day; it was just part of the day. So I think the winters were pretty mild. But I'm comparing it to Alaska, so I think it was pretty mild. It snowed 3 times, but nothing over 3 or 4 inches, and it was gone in a couple of days. I call that mild. Maybe 2 months, 3 months of winter. I mean, they got pretty much 4 seasons here.
There you go.
Right now, we're going through a little bit of Florida weather. It's not very nice, but it's outside the norm. Right now, the whole country's burning up.
Well, Skipper, man, what you got left on the agenda up there, young man?
That was it. We talked about everything that I wanted to. Anyone else have any saved rounds?
Georgie?
Well, for the record, I went and looked up to remember what fish we have in the lake, and we have striped bass, largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, hybrid, sunfish, catfish, and bluegill.
Right on, right on. I do miss the white bass. The white bass, I white bass fished a lot in Missouri, and those fish, they swim in schools. So when you see a school, you can't ignore it. It's huge, and you just throw a rooster tail in there, and they just one right after another. But I don't particularly care to eat them. Anyway, how about you, Brett, Therese? What y'all got to say?
Well, we're just happy to be in Tennessee.
Oh my God! Wake up, people!
We need to do a lake day together.
That would be fun.
Yeah. We do have a small pontoon boat we can take up to 8 people out on if you want to bring the husband and kids, and we'll go out on the boat.
Oh, Skipper, weren't you here in Florida today?
You would regret it quickly.
Maybe your husband can show us
today.
how to fish this lake and what to fish for.
Oh, I thought you was coming today.
I was supposed to fly last night.
Okay.
I'll get with you. I'll find some things. Yeah, changed up.
Okay. Hopefully, it's changed to the weekend.
No. No. Pretty much it all has to do with this contract.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
In like 2 hours is when everyone in Kuwait wakes up, so I have to talk with them.
All right.
Well, good luck with that, Mike.
Yeah.
Trying to meet all the contacts I can at any of these big contracting companies, Boeing
That's what it's about.
KBR and Fluor and DynCorp and General Dynamics. Just trying to meet them all.
What about some of the ones on the base in Huntsville?
Actually,
We've got
one of the
Lockheed Martin and
one of the things
quite a few others.
we didn't get the contract, but we bid it was for Huntsville.
Yeah. That's an hour away from us.
Yeah, that would excite me. That's my hometown.
Here's the thing. Anyone, even small business with skills, if you live near a base and let's say you're a painter and you want to work on that base, like my company can bid it and bid for somebody. That's our business model, like getting other companies these contracts.
Harry said Skipper
What?
can't leave his woman over there in the corner. Him and her will be getting married
They love
soon.
picking on me.
We'd like to thank the moderators too that joined us tonight. We always like to thank them.
Oh,
we
we
got
really
some
awesome mods. We got some awesome mods.
Probably got some of the same mods.
We do.
Probably.
I mean,
We do.
we got Paul in here. Chris is probably still in here. I think Susie was in here a while ago.
Miss Nancy was in here.
Was Miss Nancy here?
Yeah.
I mean, not all of our mods are out in full force tonight. We only have like a skeleton crew, but during the day, we got between Georgie and I, there's quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, our mods are awesome. They're constantly posting links. I'm pretty sure your link got posted several times.
Mm-hmm.
But I see these are government contracts. Yeah, Joe, I believe they are. Are they government contracts, Mike?
Yeah, they're federal government contracts. I haven't done any state stuff, but some of the states do offer the same thing. Yeah, it's like a middleman. I put the deal together, and with all the companies, I'm just like, hey, you tell me how much you want me to make on this contract. You bid what you think you want to make, and yeah, it becomes very competitive.
For some reason, the movie Dogs of War come to mind. Have you guys seen that?
That is exactly what I do. Exactly.
But you're not firearms, though.
I don't do guns. But if you watch that movie, that's exactly what the company is. And I've actually told that with some of the places. Like, I've got a battery company that's based out of San Diego, but they have a supplier in China. And like, I'm moving batteries for them, and they've got some really cool batteries. And then I've got this this company in Kuwait that wants to build and work on the bases out there because there's a lot. Yeah, feel free to get with me, Joe, if there's anything you want to do or know of anyone. Oh, and Larry just jumped.
If you guys want to do this, if you guys want to do this again sometime, any one of you, it'd be fun to do.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, we're always up for it, man. Matter of fact, here lately, Georgie and Mike and I, we used to stream all the time together. Here lately, it's just been hard on all of us. It kind of gets rough when Mike's like 3 hours away. You know, I mean, his time, like normal time for Georgie and I, 6, 7, 8, like with you guys. Okay, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. For us, you know, it's getting late. Well, it's just barely dark where Mike's at. What is it, like 5 o'clock in the afternoon when it's 8 o'clock our time, Mikey?
Yep. I still got the sun. This is natural light coming through my window here.
I'm pitch black.
Yeah.
I lived in Alaska a number of years, and it's 1 hour behind California. They have their own time zone. So.
Yeah, I mean, you look out my window, it's dark.
Yeah. It's dark.
Well, hell, it's 10:30 at night here, so that's what, 7:30 your time, Mikey?
Yep.
Sun goes down what, about 8 o'clock?
Yep, it's starting to.
Yeah, I'm up for it. Just holler at us. Work it out.
Well, hi to everyone in the chat that we didn't get to say hi to specifically, like in our streams. So hi to everybody. If you recognized us, we appreciate that. Appreciate you being on board and watching the channels, all of them.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I think we're going to wrap things up here. I always end with what I always end with. Thank you all for being worth serving.
That's right.
You're welcome.